Hello, so today I wanted to talk about the 4 types of relationships that we have around us within this realm to help you identify where you are at on the love journey, how to navigate it, but also the understanding that actually if you are experiencing the first 3 or one of the first 3 relationships, whether that be a soulmate, a karmic, or a high quality soulmate, that actually you have complete free will. If, however, you believe you're experiencing the 4th type of relationship, which is a twin flame connection, then actually you have no free will about this connection existing in your life, okay? I like to look at life like a video game, all right? So what do I mean by that? Is that you actually get to choose which level of the video game you play on in life and what you experience in life. So on the level of 1 of the video game, yes, there's maybe drug addiction and alcoholism and abusive relationships. But on level 9 of the video game, there is abundance, there's a loving relationship, there's great connections, and there's a lifestyle that you love. Now, absolutely, when we are born onto a certain level of the video game. And so some of us have maybe had a leg up in terms of the normalization of what we believe love looks like, what we deserve, and of our self-worth. That's what the love relationship that we choose for ourselves first as an adult, or what we believe we're an adult when we're in our 20s, is actually a reflection of what we believe love to look like, what we believe is normal for love. And that is based on the programming that our parents and our grandparents gave us about what love looks like and what love feels like and how love treats us. And so, yes, some of us have had a real leg up on the video game of life in terms of what we believe is the right standard of love and relationship and lifestyle for ourselves. And so some of us have had to really work our way up the video game to believe we deserve better and to believe in a different version of love than perhaps one that we've ever witnessed from our family and from our grandparents, and perhaps a different one than we've actually ever experienced. And so the first 3 types of relationships are of your free will. You get to choose where you stop, where you rest your head, and where you say, this is good enough for me. I'm happy to be treated in this way. I'm happy to experience love and life and abundance in this fashion. This is good enough for me. You have your own personal choice to keep playing on that video game with an individual, or to tap out and decide, I want to do the work on myself to get to another level of the video game. And of course, some of you here have maybe been the one that was abandoned and left. And so now you're being forced to look at what you were saying was normal and accepting as normal. And now you are being faced with a choice of either leveling up to another level of the video game, which means I must do work on myself to believe I deserve and can be up there on another level of the video game, or a conscious choice to stay the same and experience a shade of the same relationship as the one that's just ended. So let's talk about these 4 types of relationships. The first one is the soulmate. Now, soulmates can be friends as well as intimate partners and lovers. So soulmates are somebody that comes into our life, and they are a mirror and a reflection of who we are at that point in time and of what we love to do, and of sometimes even where we live. So soulmates tend to have the same interests. They tend to live in the same area. If it's a love partner, they are almost always the boy or girl that your parents expected you to bring home. They really are the conditioned type. They are a reflection of your social conditioning, of the area that you were brought up in, and of your childhood conditioning. You may have chosen that relationship, and it is a complete mirror and reflection of your childhood's, your parents' marriage, Or sometimes it's actually the antithesis of that. It's a deliberate choice to choose a relationship that is better than and more successful or more healthier than the ones you witnessed your parents having or your grandparents having. Either way, that's a soulmate relationship. And a soulmate relationship stays in our life for as long as somebody in the relationship doesn't grow or change. And as soon as somebody grows or changes or evolves, matures, the relationship changes. Very rarely does a soulmate relationship grow with us. It stays in our life for as long as we stay the same. And so this can often look like the individual that comes to me and tells me that my husband, my wife, we have actually a beautiful relationship. He treats me really well, but I no longer feel the same way about him. I feel like I've outgrown him. He's more like a brother to me than a husband. That is a big signpost to me that this is a soulmate relationship. Somebody has grown and now their needs have changed. Their values have changed. And as a result, the relationship is no longer hooking in with them in the same way anymore. And another marker here is when somebody will say to me, well, actually, it doesn't really matter what they do. My feelings won't come back for them. Like I really have outgrown this individual. And so this person can feel a lot of guilt and shame and inner turmoil about wanting to end a relationship because it's often not unhealthy. It's not necessarily toxic. It's just no longer fulfilling. It's no longer love, and it's no longer meeting their intimate needs anymore. The second relationship that all of us experience actually at some point in time is a karmic relationship. And a karmic relationship, you will know that you were in one because when it ends, it's a car crash. It can start off actually looking and feeling like a soulmate, but when it ends, it becomes a car crash. You know, there is manipulation, they will use children, they will use money to manipulate you, to hook you in, to keep you in a lower vibrational energy. A karmic wants the old version of you because it facilitates their life. It facilitates them to stay the same version of self, and they desire for you to stay the same version of self so that their life doesn't change. It's actually, and heartbreakingly, people in a karmic relationship, when it ends, will come to realise that what they thought was love was actually not really love. It was conditioned based on me meeting their needs, me doing what they wanted me to be doing, or being a certain person that they wanted me to do. And so karmics can be, well, I mean, they are growth gifters. They force us to grow. They force us to face ourselves. And if we don't, what we will find ourselves, if we stay the same version of self and we don't grow, what we end up is in a karmic cycle. We've left a relationship that was of the same argument, patterning, behaviour that never really evolved and ascended, and then we go on to attract, if we don't grow, we go on to attract another karmic that's actually a shade of the same drama and cycle. That's how you'll know you're stuck in a karmic cycle with somebody, or attracting the same karma, which is just the lessons you need to have to grow. That's how you'll know you're in a karmic cycle. And again, you have your free will here, whether you stay on that video game level, experiencing all this karma, or whether you grow and ascend and get the heck out of it. And then if you do that, then you become a match for what you should all be aspiring to here, which is a match for a high quality soulmate. A high quality soulmate has all the attributes of a soulmate, but they grow with you. They have an intellectual connection, an emotional connection, and a physical sexual connection. And these unions are, they are defined by humour, lightness, ease. They're the couples that just always looked so good together and just clearly in love. That is a high quality soulmate. And many of you here listening to this probably don't really believe in what I've just talked about. And I want you to know it's because for two reasons. One, you've never experienced it personally. And two, you may not have ever seen it. You didn't see it in your family because everybody chose to sort of stay on the lower vibrational of a karmic, or they settled with a soulmate that they had kind of outgrown, but you know, it's grass is not greener, so I'm going to stay here kind of energy. You know, so you may not have witnessed it because socially people might not actually have chosen to ascend that high, or they just normalise the car crash or the warm bath that they're in. And so you may have actually never seen very many high quality soulmates. Because of my profession and the amount of people that I talk to and the work that I do around love, I have seen them. So I know they exist, and I can spot a high quality soulmate relationship actually. They have a beautiful energy about them. And my grandparents were high quality soulmates, and so that's how I have the coding for that within myself, is because I witnessed it in my childhood. I've seen the interaction and the play of that kind of relationship and how it looks and the dynamics, and I've seen it in many other individuals in my personal and professional life since, which has just gone on to further compound the existence of such a thing. Now, the fourth relationship that is in existence, but not all of you are going to experience it, is the twin flame connection. Actually, not everybody has a twin flame. There are only a certain amount of twin flames in the world. And twin flame connections, you have no free will here. You don't get to choose who your twin flame is, and you also don't get to unchoose them. They just are. And twin flames are not friends. Twin flames are lovers. There is a Kundalini awakening that happens with twin flame connection that is an integral part of the awakening and the activation of a twin flame connection that has to happen for it to be a twin flame. So a twin flame is an intimate relationship. It's a lover. It's that kind of relationship. It is not a friendship. There must be a Kundalini awakening, okay? Twin flame connections are individuals that have a spiritual purpose and mission to being together. It doesn't mean they do work together, but the joining of the two together increases both their individual light and their light together. Both individuals come to the twin flame connection and they would not necessarily know that they were on the twin flame journey, but through the activation of both, they become, if they are not already, very dynamic. They become very purpose-driven, very soul-led, and these individuals are very awake and conscious. They tend to have gone through a dark night of the soul. They tend to have shed the layers of a life that they thought they were and a version of success that they thought they were, and they step through a portal into being true self, having alchemized all that hurt and pain into something very special and significant, and that is their light that they shine out into the world. A twin flame union is something that is incredibly I don't even know a word to use for that. It's incredibly inspiring to others, but it's a challenge to be in because it is going to bring up all of your fears, your vulnerabilities and triggers, because it is gilding you to be your best version of self for others. Not for yourself, for others. And yes, you have the benefit of it benefiting yourself, but actually your role here on this realm is to be of service to others. And so the twin flame connection is something that just happens to you. And if you are in or on a twin flame journey, you will have gone through a deep activation at some point in time, not knowing that you have. You will have really changed your values and what you want for your life. These are all things that are experienced on the twin flame journey. with the twin flame journey, there is no free will, like I said. There is just the conscious choice to grow, evolve, and heal. And I would suggest to you, if you're on the twin flame journey, to please get some support here, because there is no free will here. So if you don't walk it correctly, what you will end up doing is just causing more pain and karma to yourself and to your twin if you don't walk it in a way that is healing and going to ascend both of you. And because you can't unchoose a twin flame, you're going to be left evolving and revolving in it until you get the journey and how to walk it. There is no free will. You can't shut down that connection. It is going to be in your life forever. And all you will do if you don't handle it correctly is cause a person that you love more pain or more than they deserve to perhaps suffer or need to suffer. Okay, so these are the 4 types of relationships and connections that you're going to experience in your life. If you find yourself navigating one or the other, please know that you can access my services below here to help you navigate whether it's the ending of a soulmate or karmic relationship, or simply your desire to be a vibrational attractor to a high quality soulmate. Or if you found yourself against your free will in a twin flame connection, it's learning how to navigate it in such a way that grows you and grows them and is going to be healthy, not toxic for both of you.